Welcome back. In this video, we'll be learning about the text functions in Microsoft Excel. Now, text functions are the most basic and most common functions used everywhere in the world. Now, there are some scenarios. Why do we need text functions? Let's try to understand. So here I have a sheet named as text functions and I have kept some data over here. And what does the data talks about? If I just increase the size, carefully observe. It says name of the YouTube channel, name of the owner of that YouTube channel and the subscriber on that channel. Now this data is collected by a person who does a data entry. While entering a data, that person has made a mistake. And what is that mistake? If you observe here, the text in the B column, if you observe, there are so many flaws in this data. Okay. And I've purposely highlighted that data just to attract that data and show you this problem. The highlighted cells contains data in an inconsistent format. For example, if you see carry Minati, carry is in the proper case, Minati is in uppercase. If you observe here, which is set in the uppercase, India in a proper case. There's a huge space in between, which is unwanted space. Okay, what is a wanted space? It should be only one space. For example, my name is PavanLalwani. It should be Pavan one space and Lalwani. Okay, that is a wanted space. Let's see the other one, Ashish Chanchalani, and there's a huge space in between. Then there's a technical Guruji, huge space. 5 minutes craft, 5 minutes is in the proper case, and let's say crafts is in the upper case here. So this kind of inconsistent data comes. Now if I present this data to my manager, to my senior, to my teacher, obviously it will not make a good impression. So we need to clean this data. This is a dirty data. We need to clean this data in order to make it more presentable format. So there are various functions in Excel we'll be applying one by one. So let's do it, everyone. So here we have the data. So from that data, we have just picked up one column and we have copied here. Now, in order to remove the unwanted spaces in Excel in a text, we have a function named as trim. And the function is very simple, straightforward. Remember, in this particular cell, okay, where I want to get the clean data, I will write equal to. Every formula or function in Excel starts with equal to sign and we can type here trim. So equal to trim, and if you see, we have list of all the options. Let's say trim and trim mean. Okay, if I want to select this data, I will press tab key from my keyboard. When we press tab key from a keyboard, if you see, this is known as the screen tip trim, and in bracket it's asking text. I need to give a text. So remember, if you don't remember the functions and formulas, the screen tip is going to guide you. It's going to help you how to write a formula. So equal to sign, trim, press tab key and the text. So what cell? Either I can write a text in double quotes or I can select this cell. So once I select this cell, which is K2, and I can close the bracket. So whatever data is in the K2, if there are some unwanted spaces, trim function will clean the data. Now I can press enter. So here if I select the data, one method is I can drag and fill. Okay, one method is I can use small doctor symbol, drag and fill, or I can just double click on this small doctor symbol. When I double click, now if you observe, the data is much cleaner. If you see this option which is given here, set India. Now if you see, the unwanted spaces have been discarded. Here if you see Ashish Chanchalani, unwanted spaces have been removed. Technical Guruji, it has been removed. So trim is a function which will remove the unwanted spaces between the text. Now the inconsistent data, I want all the text, all the data in an uppercase. So the function I will use is equal to upper, and I can press tab key. Which cell number I should select? I will select, let's say, if I select this one, K2, and I can press enter. So now when I just double click on the small doctor symbol, all the data will be copied here. So from the K column, the data has been converted to uppercase. Okay, that's very simple and easy. It gives a consistent format for a reader, how it looks like. Okay, but still if you observe, there is a unwanted spaces. Though it is converted into uppercase, there are some unwanted spaces. So I will press delete from my keyboard. So equal to upper, press tab key, and I can use trim, press tab key. That means I can use two formulas into one cell. This is known as nested functions. Okay, these are two functions, nested functions I can use. I can use 3 functions, 4 functions, 5 functions, 255 combinations I can use. Till the 255 length I can use. Right now I want to convert into uppercase. Also I want to trim the data. Okay, so now the cell I can select is K2, close the bracket, close the bracket. When I press enter, and now if I select the cell, double click on the small doctor symbol, Now if you observe, the text is converted into uppercase and the text is also trimmed. Unwanted spaces have been discarded. That's simple here. Now similarly, if I want to convert the data to lowercase, I can type equal to lower and I can type here K2. K2 is the cell number where the data is there and I can just select this, double click. So lower is a function which will try to convert the data into lowercase. But again, I'll press Ctrl Z because unwanted spaces are still there. So how do I modify equal to lower, press tab key, and then I can type trim, press tab key, and I can type K2. So two brackets I have to close and I can press enter. Now I can double click on this place and this will come here. Similarly, the next one is proper. What is proper here? Proper means the first alphabet of every word will be capital. First alphabet of every word would be capital. So equal to proper, I can type here proper, press tab key, and then I can type here trim and select the cell number K2, close the bracket, enter. So this will give me the first alphabet of every word into capital. Okay, that's the first word of every alphabet. And now the next part would be, if I want to find the length of a text in a cell, the function is equal to len. Okay, equal to len, which is length. Now I can type here, let's say K2. Okay, but K2, there are some unwanted spaces. If you want to remove the unwanted spaces and still get the answers, so I can type here, let's say equal to length, then trim, and then K2, close the bracket, enter. So this will give me the length of a text in that particular cell. Okay, so this way I've got the answers here, which is length of a text. So what are the functions we are learning right now? How to convert the data into uppercase, lowercase, proper case, how to trim and remove the unwanted spaces, and how do you find out the length of a text. Moving further, there are many other examples. Now, if I want to find out the data, if you see that's the name of the owner, if I want to find out the first name and the last name, okay, separately from a data, how do I do that? Okay, so first name and last name, we have a new function added by Microsoft Excel. The name of the function is text before and text after. So first name, if I want, if you see, there's a space after the first name, everyone. First name, there's a space. So I want all the text before the space. So I'll use a function equal to text before. Now this is a new function added. It was not there earlier. So now I can zoom the screen. So it says text before, and now I do not know the syntax. How do I write it? We are doing it for the first time. However, you can see the option over here. It says text before. I need to give the text in that particular place in double quotes, one method, or I can select the cell number, comma delimiter. What is a delimiter? Between first name and last name, there's a space given. Okay, there's a space. So delimiter would be space. Now, whatever you see in the square bracket after that, whenever there's a square bracket, it means it's an optional. You do not need to compulsory use that parameter. So these are parameters in the formula. Okay, this becomes your syntax. Okay, that's known as syntax. It is the help which is giving you, and this becomes a function. So now text before, I will put the text. So that's a cell number which is W2, comma. And then the second, the moment I put comma, this becomes as bold. Bold means now you can enter the parameter here. So delimiter is space. So I cannot just use space. I have to use double quotes, double quotes, double quotes, space, double quotes. So in cell number W2, I want all the text before space. Okay. Now when I press enter, and now here I can just double click on this place, and if you observe here, I have got all the first name from this data here. Now the problem here is, if you observe in this Diana, there's only one word and there's no space in that. Okay, Diana, these are 5 characters and there's no space. So therefore it has given me as NA. So my job would be, I can double click and put a space and I can press enter. Okay, Diana, and then I've got the data. So remember, if you have multiple text, the complexity of the data will definitely increase. So that is a text before. Now similarly, if I want the text after the space, I can pick up. So I want the first name, and whatever is the other part, I just want as a last name. So I will use text after. Okay, the function is new, recently it has been added, very soon. And now text after, again the options would be the same. So I will select the option as W2, comma, double quotes, space, double quotes, close, and enter. So this will give me the last thing, which is text after. And if you observe, Now it is counting the first space. Carefully observe. In Sony Pictures Network, okay, obviously it's not a name, it's a name of the channel or name of the owner here. Sony Pictures Network, there are 3 words and there are 2 spaces. So after the first space, it has given the value. Okay, after the first space, if you see Pictures Network, so after Sony space, it has given the entire data. Now you can still earn the permutation combinations to get the output here. When I press Ctrl Z, double click on this place, and here if you see after delimiter, there's an instance number. What is that instance number? There are two spaces, Sony space Pictures space Network. So which space do you want, first space or the second space? So here I can go back, press backspace, and if I put comma 2 close bracket, what will happen after the second space, it will give me the data. So here wherever there are 3 words given here, wherever 3 words are given, so I'm getting the data which is network, group and forms. Other places there are no 2 spaces, so therefore it is not giving the value. So then we have to use some other functions to get the output. So however, for the first name it works absolutely fine, which is very simple. Okay. The other formulas are also there, okay, to find out the first name and last name, which we'll see very soon right now. So let's come back to the next part. Moving further, we have some other options, which is text split. Now, if I want to split the data into multiple cells, if you see Harry, Tony, some names are given here, and I want to split the data into multiple places. So we have a function named as text split. So I can use equal to text split. The function is very simple, straightforward. Now here comes the option as text, comma, column delimiter. Let me zoom the screen, which is text. So I have to give the cell number. Column delimiter. Right now, obviously it is a name, so the delimiter is given as space. So how do I pick up? I will select as A12 or AI2, comma, in double quotes I can put a space. So if it is Harry Potter, it will give me the Harry in one particular cell, Potter in the other cell. If it is given as 3 characters, let's say Shah Rukh Khan, so it will give me Shah, Rukh and Khan. So wherever there are spaces, it will divide into multiple cells or split into cells. Now when I press enter, if you see Harry Potter, now if I press double click on the small doctor symbol, okay, or if I just drag down, double click is not working. So wherever there are multiple text, it has given multiple cells. So now instead of Harry Potter, if I write A space B space D space E, okay, and if I press enter, it is giving me A, B, C and D, or A, B, D, E separated into different places. So what is this text split function? Splits the data based on the delimiter in as many cells as you want, okay, whatever the data was there. So this was about the text split option here. We have a similar option of text join. For example, let me write some data here. Let's say as day and I can write as month, okay, a random data. So I'll type as Monday and I'll type as January, okay. So this 2 data set I want here, and now I can just drag down. So these 2 texts are there. Now if I want to join this 2 texts together, how do I do that? So we have an option as equal to text join, okay. Text join, the first thing it's asking what is a delimiter, okay. Let me zoom the screen. So delimiter becomes, let's say, space. In between this 2 data, I want space as delimiter. So I'll write as double quotes space double quotes, comma. It says ignore empty. Okay, if I want to ignore empty over here, okay, so I can ignore, I can press true, and then it is asking me, comma, what is the text 1, comma, text 2. So obviously first name and last name I'll select. I can select first name, comma, last name and close the bracket. So this way when I press enter, it has combined those 2 texts. When I just move it down, it has combined the data together. So this way I've got the answers. So imagine it's a first name and last name. One more time, let's see. So we can type here as text join. So delimiter, now this time I'll put the delimiter as comma in double quotes. Remember, delimiter should be in double quotes, comma, ignore empty. Imagine if there are some empty cells, I'll say ignore the empty, which is true, tab key instead of writing, comma, and what is text 1, comma, text 2, comma, text 3. So I need to give the text. So right now, obviously text is, let's say 1, comma, 2. So carefully observe, how do you understand? The blue color which is given, it's the blue color. It's the red color, it's matching with the red color. So in case the function becomes lengthy, you need to understand the color combinations. So it is very easy to understand. And now I can close the bracket. So this 2 text are been combined with a delimiter comma. When I press enter, I've got this comma as a delimiter. Now I can drag down. Now sometimes after this thing, if you want all the data in one single cell, you can still do that. Okay, you want to combine all columns and all data from this place, it is possible. How do I do that? I can delete this data. I can use equal to text join. Okay, this text join is very useful topic here. Text join, press tab key. Delimiter I can put here, let's say space, comma, true, comma. Now this comes over here. If I want to select the data like this, I can pick up the data, comma. Now I can pick up the data and close the bracket. So instead of one single cell, I have selected array of cells, array of data, and when I press enter, if you observe here, which given as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and so on. So in a whole list of data, I've got the output here. Now where it is useful, if you're a working professional, you have list of all the email IDs at one place, and if you want to combine those email IDs by comma, you can do this method. So you should have all the email IDs in one place, and then you can combine with comma and you can send email to all those people. So this is what you call text join. So we can delete this part over here. Now the other option if I have is about the left and right functions. Left and right functions will be helping you to get the left data and the right data. Let's try to understand. Here I can just put as left, right, and mid. Let me delete this column and I'll just try to format to make it look better. Perfect. All right. So here we go. This is the data right now. And now I want to find out the left, right, and mid text from here. So suppose from this data, which is given on the left hand side, I want the first alphabet from every word. I can use the function named as left. Equal to left is a function. Press tab key from a keyboard. And here comes the text and number of characters. So what is the text? So obviously the text is AS2. What is AS2? AS is the column name. 2 is the row number, comma. If I want just one character, I can close the bracket. So one character, that means the first character, I can press enter. So from every word, I will be getting the first character. Okay, if you see from here, I've got December D, I've got here July J, I've got here October O. Okay, the first character. Similarly, from the rightmost, okay, but however, if I want 3 characters, so I can just change the formula, close the bracket, enter, and now I can just drag and fill. So if I want 3 characters, the only change I have to do is instead of 1, I will type here 3 and I'll get all the answers here. Okay. Let's see from the right hand side, that means from the right hand side, if I want the 3 characters, so the function would be equal to right. Okay, very simple, straightforward function. Equal to right is a function. Press tab key from a keyboard. Just 2 parameters. What are the parameters? Text, comma, number of characters. How many characters do you want from right? So I will select the option as, let's say, AS2, comma, and if I want last 3 characters, and I can press enter. So this data which I'll be receiving are the last 3 characters from that particular text. Okay, last 3 characters. Let's cross check. From October, the last 3 characters are BER. From June, the last 3 characters are UNE. Now, this becomes our left, right, and now the middle. Okay, if I want to find out the middle characters, okay, middle text over here. Now this is little 3 parameters. So one is a text, which is obviously AS column. Now it will ask you more 2 options. How many characters do you want and from which position do you want? Okay, so here 3 things are there. One is a text, second is the number of characters and position number. So from this column, let's say from position number 2. What is position number 2? Position number 2 would be this one. You see A, E, then A, P. These are the second position. So from position 2, I want 3 characters. So equal to MID mid, and these are the parameters. So it will ask me the text, comma, starting position or starting number and how many characters. So I will type as AS2, obviously the cell number, comma. From second position, I want 3 characters. And now I can press enter. So if I drag down, now if you see from September, second position is E, I want EPT, so I'll be getting EPT. So this is a mid function. So left function, right function and mid function, these are three functions to extract the text based on the position of the data. The next function is find and search. Find and search are very interesting tools over here. So find will give us the position number. Okay, search will also give us a position number of an alphabet in a text. Search and find are the functions to give the position numbers of a text of the alphabet in a text. For example, in this data set, if I want to find out the position of A, what is the position of A? So we use a function equal to find, press tab key. Now two things, one is find the text. I want to find A character. So in double quotes I have to type A, and within which text I want to find out within this particular text. So here we go, I can find in double quotes A, comma, and in this column. Okay, so in this particular cell number BE2, when I press enter, so this will give me the position of A in that particular column. Now if you observe here, 2 is correct, 6 is correct. Here in January there are 2 times A repeated, but find function by default gives you the first position of alphabet A, first position. So here is 6. Now there is a problem in this location A. So if you see in April, A is always there, okay, but it is giving us no value. That means something is wrong. So let's find out what is the problem here. If we double click here and find out the answer, it is asking to find the small a in cell number BE5, small a, that means small case a. But in cell number BE5, April, A is capital. So remember, find function is a case sensitive function. If it is saying small a, it is going to give you and search only the position of small a. It is not going to give you the position of upper A. So find is a function to find out the position of a character in a text. And now I can press enter. So here we go. So then search is a function. Search, I can just type as small a again, and I want to find out in this particular cell, which is BE2, close the bracket, and this will give me the position of A when I press enter and if I double click. So parameters were same. Now if you observe the change over here, in the month of April I've got the position 1, and in the month of August I've got the position A. So if you observe the function in both the places, it was same. If I double click in this location, it was same function. But search is not a case sensitive function. Find is a function which is case sensitive. Search function is not a case sensitive function. So this is the difference between find and search. Now you might have a question, why do we need find and search functions? So find and search functions are not used directly, but it is used inside nested functions. Let me show an example here. So suppose I have this data. If you remember, we picked up this data which is first name and last name. I can just pick up this data, Control C. So this is an advanced function which you'll be watching right now. Okay. So how do we extract the first name? We have understood with the help of text join, text split, and text before and text after. But if you want to go way ahead, little advanced, there's a function named as left and find function. So let's say I want all the data which is before space. Okay, all the data before space. So we can type here left function. I can select the cell number, comma, number of characters. So how many characters are there before the space? Okay, so let's see in the Bhushan, if I try to search text is BHUSHAN, and then 8th position is for the space. So if I type here 8 and close a bracket, so at the 8th position, before that I want all the text, enter, and if I scroll down, I'm getting this data here. But if you see Sony pictures, 8th position, the space is not there. In Subhash Chandra, 8th position is not a space. So every cell, the position of space is changing. Okay, but now how do I find out the answer? So remember this, the 8th number which is written, it's a dynamic value. I cannot just put 8 everywhere. So I want it to be dynamic. How do I make it dynamic? We have right now learned the position. How do you find out the position of a character in a word? Okay, in that cell. So the function name was find. Can I replace this number 8 with the find function? Find function, if I tell them find the position of space, it will give me the answers. Okay, so here we go. I can type as find in bracket space, comma, in which cell number? This particular cell number. So equal to find, in double quotes there's a space, comma, B and 2. Now here when I press enter, okay, I'll press enter, and now when I double click on this location, double click, you see now I've got the data properly. So every column or in the every place, if you see Sony, now the text is proper. Okay, before space all the data is given. So what is the function here? So equal to left the cell number comma find. I don't have to give the static number, I can just use the find option here. So it has given me all the output here. So that's a find function. So this was for the first name data in that option here. Now similarly, this was the first name and last name also you can find out. But before that, we need to see some other function here. The next function is the replace and substitute. If I want to replace a A character with a Z character, I can use the substitute function. Now when I use substitute, this is the syntax, remember. So syntax is one is a text, second is old text and new text. Three syntax are there. So for me, the text is this particular cell. In that cell, the old text, I want A, new text is Z. So wherever the character A will appear, I want to replace with character Z. So let's do it. Cell number, comma, A is the character, comma, Z is the new character. So I'm just replacing all the A characters with Z characters. And then I can press Ctrl Enter, and now I can just double click here. So if you see everywhere, if the name is given as Ashish Chanchalani, if you see the text has changed, if you see the Bhuvan Bam and the name instead of A, Z has been appeared over there. So which is very simple and interesting. Now similarly, we have a replace function similar to replace. So I can use a function named as replace equal to replace. What replace does is, it's similar to your what do you call this one as substitute, but let's see what happens. So when I see the replace option, it says old text, which is my old text over here, comma, starting number. If I say from position number 5, okay, position number 5, let's say position number 8, comma, and let's say remaining characters, which is 10. Okay, so from starting from position A, which is space for in this cell, the number of characters, remaining characters, make it as 10. I want everything to be replaced Z. Okay, close the bracket. So after 8th character, everything would be replaced with Z. Enter. So you see when I scroll down everywhere, and after 8th character, everywhere the text would be given as Z. Okay, so here if I double click, and if you see the 10th character, number of characters, so I can say let's say 20, and I can just scroll down here. So everywhere the number of characters which will be replaced as Z. But right now all the 20 characters I am replacing just one single text. If I tell them replace with 5 Zs, okay, replace with 5 Zs, so all the 20 characters are going to be replaced by 5 characters, 5 Zs. Okay, so that's a replace function. Now here similarly, so this was substituting a single character with some other character. This one is replacing list of characters by maybe 2 characters, 3 characters or 4 characters. If you understand this replace and substitute, the last function we have is how do we find out the last name? Okay, we understood about the first name, right? Now let's understand about the last name. So here if you observe here, what I want here is the first few characters before the space should be replaced by space. Okay, for example, Bhushan space Kumar, since I want the last text over here, the last name, I want all the text before that to be replaced by space. How do we do that? I can use the function as equal to replace. Let me bring the screen over here. So I want the function to be given as replace. Replace old text. This is the old text over here, comma, starting position is 1. How many characters should I replace till I find the position of space? So the function is equal to find. Then I can put here find the text which is space, comma, within this text, close the bracket, comma, new text is given as space. So the ultimate story is till I find a space, all the text in the beginning should be replaced with space, and I can press enter. So if you see everywhere, I'm getting the last name. Okay, obviously it is picking up the first space over here, and I'm getting the data. Okay, so the remaining text is given. So this is little advanced function used in the companies to find out the first name and last name here. Okay, so what are the functions we have seen? Plenty of functions. Not all the functions will be used in the company, not everything. You will be using limited functions, but it is good to know maximum functions which can be useful. So what are the functions we have seen? Uppercase, lowercase, left, right, mid, trim, replace, substitute, text join, text split, text before, text after, and so on. So I hope you have understood all the text functions in Excel. The various date functions available in Microsoft Excel. Dates are the most important part in the Excel. Whenever there's a data, date by default comes over there. Now, various functions are there. How to find out day, month, year, quarter, how to add days, add months, subtract months, how to split date and time. Okay, that's also an important part. How to find out the exact age of a person. That's all those functions we'll be learning. Let's try to understand one by one. So very first thing, I have a sheet named as date functions, and we can see over here, these are name of the people right now given on the screen, and these are very famous people in the world. Sachin Tendulkar, we have Virat Kohli, Shah Rukh Khan, we have Deepika Padukone, MS Dhoni, Amitabh Bachchan. These are all famous people, and we have their date of birth given here. So let's say Sachin Tendulkar was born on 24th of April 1973, and then let's say Amitabh Bachchan 11th October 1942. All the dates are given there. Now the first thing, we'll see many of functions. Just to begin with, how to separate day, month and year. From this data set, if I want to separate day, month and year, how do I do that? The functions are very simple, straightforward. I will just type as equal to day, select the cell number which is B2, close the bracket, and I can press enter. So when we type here day, we have got the day of that person. Similarly, if we type here month equal to month, select the cell number, close the bracket. Straightforward. If you want day, just type equal to day. If you want month, equal to month. Same way, we can just double click, get the output. And if you want the year option, equal to year, select this particular cell number, that's it. And now we can press enter. Here we can just double click on this place. Now, if I want to compress the size of 3 columns, select this column headings, double click on the heading and select the column heading, increase width of any one column heading, and you can see these are the day, month and year separated. Okay, day, month and year, and the functions are simple, straightforward, equal to day, equal to month, equal to year. The next one. Now again, this people, again the famous people in the world, respected people in the world. Now I want to find out the day of the week, weekday and week number. I want to find out when they were born, whether they were born on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I want to find out the day, okay, they were born, and also weekday and week number. So let's say day of the week. How do I get it? The method is little tricky but not so difficult. So I can type equal to and select the cell number. So if the cell number is N2, I'm just copying the data from N2 to this place, enter. When I copy the data, I'll obviously get the same data, no changes in this, but I can select this particular cell, right click on that particular cell and then select the option as format cells. This will open a dialog box. Okay, this will open a dialog box. I can click on cancel again. If you forget this option, you can keep your cursor, press Ctrl 1. Ctrl 1 also gives a dialog box. You can keep your cursor, right click, select the option format cells. Now in this dialog box, here comes the option custom. Now in the custom option, carefully observe the date, which was 24th of April 1973, this of Sachin Tendulkar, and this type is given here. So what is the goal we want? We want day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday and all. So here we can delete the type over here. When I delete the type, carefully observe what happens. I'm getting 26778. Okay, so if you delete the format, you get in the number format here. If I type here D, it gives me 24. D24. Sachin was born on 24th. Again D, one more 24. Again D, it's Tuesday. TUE. One more D if I type, I'll get full form of Tuesday. I repeat, if I type here month, M, that means 4. If I type here M, that means 4. 4 means month of April, Sachin Tendulkar was born. And if I press M, one more 04. If I type M, I'll get APR, short form of April. And if I type one more M, I'm getting full April. So here I come back. I wanted day, right? So I can type as, let's say, DD hyphen MM hyphen YYY. This is one format. If I want DD hyphen MMM hyphen YYYY. So I'm customizing the format the way I want. But right now, let's keep it very simple. I want the day. So I'll type 4 times D, press enter. So Sachin Tendulkar was born on Tuesday, and if I double click and find out, okay, maybe a research, I can find out where, on which day of the week all the great players, all the great people in the world were born. So I can just analyze and find out the answer. So I can predict if this person, small young person, is born on Tuesday, he'll become a successful. I'm just giving a theory part. So these are most of the people, the day born. Same way, weekday. I want to find out the weekday. So the function is simple, equal to weekday. I can select the cell number and close the bracket. That's it. So this will give me the output here. So weekday means it's the third day of the week. Tuesday is the third day of the week. So what is the first day of the week? Sunday. By default, Sunday is given as the first day of the week. It will change depending upon your laptop. Okay, in the laptop there are some settings we do. Okay, the date and time settings. Based on this, the output will change. So it's fine. Okay, so now the week number. There are 52 weeks in a year. Okay, 52 weeks in a year. On which day of the week or which week number the person was born? Equal to week number, press tab key, equal to week number, and I can select this particular cell, press enter. So 17th week of the year, Sachin Tendulkar was born. Then if I say about the Leon Messi, Messi was born on 26th week of the year. Okay. This is also important to find out day, week, day and week number. That's few data away. Moving to the next part. Now this is important. I'll give you a case study and also explain. Suppose you order something on Amazon or Flipkart or something, okay, and you get an order date. Suppose I ordered today and it says it will take 10 days to deliver. Okay, so what is my expected delivery date? I also need a date for that, right? In the big companies, if they plan accordingly, what is the delivery date of the product, delivery date of the service? Let's see an example. I have ordered all these items and these are the order date on which I have ordered the data here. And this is the output they have told me that this will take 10 days, 20 days, 15 days to deliver. Now I need to give this data to my manager and tell him what is the expected delivery date. Okay, this is the order date, number of dates to deliver, and that's an expected date. So the formula is very simple. Add these two cells equal to the first cell, which is date, plus second cell, which is the number of days. Enter. So I can just drag and fill down. If I have to show you, if I order on 1st March, if it takes 10 days, the expected delivery date would be 11th March. If I order on 25th March, 35 days is going to take. 29th of April, I'm going to get the output here. Now, it is very important. If it is personal thing, it's okay, but it is very important for the organizations to plan it accordingly. If we are getting the option on this particular date, what is next? Imagine this is the offer letter which you get from a company. And this is you have told that I'll be joining in 35 days. The company will plan what is the expected joining date of that person. So then they can pick up that project, then they can start training, then they can start aligning. Okay, so that's an expected delivery date. Similarly, now comes the other part. If you're ordering a single product, it's okay, 1 day, 2 day, 5 days. But imagine there are some huge quantity of items you're ordering and the company said it is going to take months, not days. So the data is same, item number and order date, but instead of days, I have converted into months. It says these are the number of months which will be required for delivery. So then what would be the expected delivery date? Now I cannot add this column plus this cell. It is not going to make some sense. So we need to use some other function named as eDate equal to eDate. Remember, all the functions and formulas in Excel starts with equal to sign. So equal to eDate and two parameters. One is the start date, which is this date, and comma number of months. So I'm going to select this start date, comma number of months from here and close the bracket. That's it. Nothing difficult I can put here. And now I can just drag it down. But the problem here is the output is given in the number format. I don't want numbers, I want dates. So from this formatting option, we can select the option as short date and this will give me the output. But obviously I'm not able to understand, it's because same numbers. So I can press Ctrl 1, choose some good format like this one and click on OK. Now let's understand. If I order an item on 5th March 2025, it says it is going to take 2 months. What is the delivery date? It's 5th of May. Exactly 2 months are added to that date. If I am ordering on 25th of March 2025, if I'm saying 6 months, so the expected delivery date would be 25th of September. So we can plan accordingly. Okay, that's the output here. Now, whenever we create video courses, it takes 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. So then the marketing team plans what should be launch date, when it should come over there. So this is something related to month's delivery date. Now, the other option, the columns are same. Here data is same, but the column is now years to deliver. Earlier it was days, then we saw months, then we are seeing years. Now how many years it is going to take to deliver that product. Now this is for obviously not this coffee machine and all, but this is for larger projects like say ISRO, they are going to launch a satellite, or it's a huge project coming. Geo planned 10 years before launching Geo. Geo is a SIM card, it's a network, mobile network platform for people who are outside India who don't know. So they plan 10 years before. Okay, ISRO plans 10 years before itself. So they take years. So obviously the data you can ignore, but imagine if it is taking 10 years, 20 years, 15 years, what is the expected delivery date? So here is the years to deliver. Do I need to use new formula? The answer is no. You just type as equal to e date, same function, select this particular cell, comma, now select this cell, but these are number of months. This formula is for number of months. If you observe here, so I will multiply by 12. If I multiply by 12, that means 7 into 12 becomes as 84. So 84 months are going to be added. Okay. And again, I can double click here. I'll select the formatting from here, format painter, and I can paste the formatting here. So now let's understand 18th March 2025, 6 years to deliver. So what is the expected delivery date? It says as 18 March 2031. By 2031, I'll be getting the output, which is delivery date. So do not have to use any separate function or formula. We can directly use this option, which is same e date. Just you need to take care, multiply by 12. So this was about the addition of days, months and years. If I want to subtract the years, how do I do that? Okay, so a formula equal to e date, okay, equal to e date, and press tab key from a keyboard, select the cell, comma, minus this date, multiply by 12. So instead of plus, we have just added here minus. It will reverse, it will subtract the number of years, enter. And then I can get the output over here. Obviously the formatting I'll select, format painter, and I can paste the formatting. So if it says 1 March 2025, if I go 7 years back, what was the date? 1 March 2018. Okay, 1 March 2018, that's the data. So the only thing you need to do is, if you want to subtract, put a minus sign. Instead of plus sign, just put a minus sign over there. So moving further, the next part would be today and now. If I want to get today's date, I'll just type as control semicolon is one option, and the second one is equal to today. You just type as equal to today, open and close bracket, enter. So equal to today is a function which will give you today's date. When you open this Excel file tomorrow, okay, the date will be 29th of August. If you open after 1 year, it will be 28th of August 2025. Okay, so today. The next one would be equal to now. Now gives you the date and time. Right now we are about to end the day 1 recording, and now it says 9 o'clock in the morning. So now if I format this file, if I close this file, open the file after 4 o'clock in the evening, the time will be shown 4 o'clock. So today's date and 4 o'clock. If I double click, if you see it's 9:10 AM, if I double click over here and it was 9:10, when I press enter, it says 9:11. So now is a function which will give you current date and time. If you close this file, these two functions are dynamic. It will give you that current date and time. Moving further, we have the other functions, which is very, very important. Okay, very important here. Now you might have seen some movies and all, and hero and heroine, they talk to each other, and the heroine says, I have not met you from last 5 years. Hero from the movie says, no, it's not 5 years, it's 5 years, 10 months and 20 days. So how do they do that? They use Microsoft Excel to find out the exact difference. Okay, so we can understand, and now I can tell you what is the exact age of this people in terms of days, months and years. Okay, all those details I can show you right now, and the function we'll be using in Microsoft Excel. So the question is, find age of the person in years, months and days. Okay, so if the person is 20-year-old, 5 months and 6 days, we can get the answer right away. Okay, let's do that. So first thing, the name of the people, famous people in the country and in the world, and the date of birth. So let's see, how do we find out the years? Equal to DATEDIF, equal to DATEDIF, which is a function. DATEDIF is a short form for date difference. DATEDIF is a short form for date difference. Now how do we find out our age? We find out our date of birth and we subtract from today, correct? That's the method, right? Same way we are going to teach Microsoft Excel that you find out the date of birth and today's date. So these are two parameters. Now the problem here is, when we put DATEDIF, it is not helping us to get the answers. It's kind of a hidden function. No help is given. So we have to use our own brains. So now this is the first function here, which is the date of birth. I've selected date of birth, comma, today. today means today's date, and it will change if I open this file tomorrow, comma, in double quotes I'll add here y. What is y? I want the age in number of years, because we are looking for years. Start date, comma, end date. Start date is date of birth, end date is today's date, and comma y, which is years. That's it. So when I press enter and if I double click over here, I'm getting the years but not in a good format. So I can select that data and I can select number and put it here. So great. Now if you see Sachin Tendulkar in 50 year, he's today 51-year-old. The day when I'm recording, it's 51-year-old. He has retired and he has earned a lot of respect. He has made a name in the world. It's very inspiring to see. 42, who is that person? Let's say Priyanka Chopra. And then 43, it's MS Dhoni. In 43, he has made the name in the world. So in short span of time, the people have made. So coming back to the point, the function would be DATEDIF. Let me zoom the screen. Same function, start date, comma, today. Okay, no changes in that. Start date, comma, today, and here, comma. Earlier I have used y, but here if I use m, you might be thinking if it is years for y, then what should be for months? Should it be m? Let's try to find out. If I put here m and if I double click, bring it down, obviously it's a date I want in the number format. So here if you observe, we have made a mistake, but let me try to explain you. Sachin Tendulkar is today 616 months old, 616 months. So obviously when the baby is small, we count the age in years, 10 months, 5 months, 16 months. But when the person is grown up, we don't count in months, we count in years. So 616 months old Sachin Tendulkar is. If I talk about Virat Kohli, he is 429 months old. We don't require in that months. So if you don't want in months, we have to do some change. Instead of m, you just type as ym. What is ym? Ym stands for divide by all the years and give me the remainder months. Divide by years and give me the remainder months. So now when I press enter, you can see, and if I just double click here, it says Sachin Tendulkar is 51-year-old and he is 4 months old today. 51 years, 4 months old today. Okay. And similarly for all people, and the days. Okay. Let's see the days part. So equal to DATEDIF. Okay, open the bracket. I can select this particular cell, comma, we can put here today and open and close bracket, and here comes MD. What is MD? Divide by months and give me the remainder days. Okay, and we can just bring it down like this. We can select the number and we have got the output. So today, as of today, when I'm recording the video, Sachin Tendulkar is 51 years, 4 months and 4 days old. Okay, so let's say if I want to find out my age, I'll just type here my name, PavanLalwani. I'll find here the date of birth mine, which is 30th 03 and 1999. Okay, so I'm today 25 years old, 4 months and 29 days old. That's my current age, which is given here. Okay, 25 years, 4 months and 29 days old. Okay, that's how you can pick up. Moving further, we have the start date and end date. Okay, the topic right now is how to find out the difference between two dates. Okay, difference between two dates. So I'm adding here 1/1/2024 and I'm adding here 31/12/2024. So these are two dates, start date and end date. Now the difference I want to find out. Okay, carefully observe. This is the start of the year and the second one is the end of the year. So the difference between two dates. In a year, there are 365 days. This is start of the year, end of the year. How do I find the answer? Equal to bigger cell number minus smaller cell number, equal to BV2 minus BV1. So bigger cell number minus smaller cell number. That means bigger date minus smaller date. Enter. So it says there are 365 days in a year, which is correct. But now if you're a person who is working in a college, company, school or somewhere, or a company anywhere, you need to find out how many working days are there. Okay, working days. In India, Saturdays and Sundays are off. In UAE, in Dubai, in other countries, there are Fridays and Saturdays which are off. So different countries have different off. Okay, the week off. So now the question is, if you remember, there are 52 weeks in a year. 52 weeks. That means 52 weekends are there, 52 Saturday and Sunday. So if I say out of 365, if there are 52 weeks, that means 104 Saturday Sundays are there. Okay, 104. Let me write it here. So 365 days are there, 104 Saturday Sunday. So how many working days are there? So if I try to find out, okay. So total 261 working days in a year. Who it is important for? If you're a project manager, if you're a teacher, if you're a principal, you need to plan, right? 261 days are there. I need to plan syllabus for my school and college. If you're a project manager, you need to plan the resource utilization in your company so that you can deliver the project on time. Coming back to the point, but this might be not correct because Saturdays, Sundays, it might be here and there. So we want to find out the net working days. So the function would be equal to net work days, okay, equal to net work days, start date comma end date. So this would be my start date comma this would be my end date. That's it. So start date comma end date, and we can press enter. So there are 262 days in a year, okay, which are working days excluding Saturdays and Sundays. However, suppose this will work in the countries where Saturday, Sundays is off. It will not work in the country where it's Friday, Saturday off, because Dubai, UAE, these places, they have week offs on Friday, Saturday. So if I want to find out net working days, okay, let me write here net work days in UAE. Okay, so we can type here equal to networkdays.intl. The function name is equal to networkdays.intl. Start date comma end date comma. The moment I put comma, let me zoom the screen. What it says is you choose what is your weekend. Okay, in India as well and some countries, they don't give always off on Saturday, Sundays. They keep on giving off on many days, different days. So it's my strategy. I work on Saturday, Sunday because I want to deliver the product and service to my customer on Monday. So why should I also take an off on Saturday, Sunday? It depends on companies. So here we can find out, let's say Friday, Saturday, it is for UAE. And if I select the option, it gives me number 7. Okay, if I select the option here and if I select number 7, you see, it will select number 7 and I can close a bracket. So this is telling me that start date, end date, and number 7, Friday, Saturday off. Then how many days are there? Still 262. If I try to change into number 6 and I find out 262. If I try to find out number 3, enter 260. What is number 3? Let's find out number 3. If the holidays are on Monday, Tuesday, and now I can close a bracket, there are 260 days. So imagine if you have a company and the different countries you're working, different geographic platforms and places you're managing, you need to find out how many working days are there. Okay, this is very important. Now, this was about excluding Saturdays and Sundays. But now let's find out, there are so many public holidays. In India, approximately 1 month is a public holiday. In Kolkata, there are Durga Puja. In South, if you go, there's a Pongal. There are other festivals. In North, if you go, there's a Diwali. In Middle, if you go to Ganpati and all, different places have different holidays. So let's find out some common holidays in the country. Okay, let's say 26th of Jan 2024, 15th August 2024. Okay, and let's say 31st of December 2024. And let's say one more holiday, let's say my birthday, 30, 90, 99. Okay, these are 4 holidays, let's assume. So now we want to give an off on all these 4 days. Okay, approximately 1 month is a holiday which we get in most of the countries. So now if I want to find out excluding the holidays as well, so function would be equal to network days, start date comma end date. Okay, start date comma end date. Now these 4 holidays which are given, okay, on the right hand side, I've added the dates, but do they fall on weekends, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or they fall on Saturday, Sunday? If they fall on Saturday, Sunday, my 4 leaves have gone. That's a problem. So who needs to find? We will not find. We will tell Excel to select this data. You see, after this comma, we have selected this data and the data is selected here. This will decide. Okay. The answer earlier was 262. 262. Now if I press enter, sorry, 365, 262 was the answer. When I press enter, I'm getting 259. So out of all 4, 1 day is only working day. Others, 1 day is on a weekend. Other days are on Monday to Friday. So we have found out the answer here. So 259 is the answer. So the third parameter, which was holidays, we just selected the holidays. Okay. Coming back to the point, we have understood about the difference between dates, finding out net working days in India and the other countries as well. And the last one, very, very important. is if I have a date and time, how do I divide, how do I separate date and how do I separate time? The most important question people ask. Here is the data. Let's find out how do we divide the date and time. I have got the date and time in this place. If you work in a call center, if you are working on some specific date and time, how do we divide that part? So let's say date. So the very simple method is equal to int, open the bracket and select this data and close a bracket. So when you put equal to int, enter, and if you see, you get the date option there automatically. Okay. If you're not getting date, you are getting time as well. You just need to select the data on this place, and here from this drop down, select the date. Okay. So what you get is equal to int. The function is equal to int to get you the date. If you want time, just type equal to this cell number, this particular cell number minus int, open bracket, and again this cell number. So which is CB2 is a cell number minus int of CB2. Int means it will subtract the date and give me the output here. And this is what you call as time. So how to separate date and time in Excel? This is the method. We found the date and time. One method was which is int. And if you want the time, you can just type as CB2 cell number minus int CB2. Okay. So this was all the output about separating date and time. So these are all the exhaustive list of functions. There are so many functions, but these are the most useful, common and required functions everywhere in the company. So that's it. I hope you have understood about the date and time functions in Excel and the various logical functions available in Excel. Logical functions are very important to find out the nested data as well. Okay. Now, whenever there are some conditions, we need some output. Okay. So logical functions plays an important role. What are the different logical functions? Though there are a list of many logical functions, we'll be focusing on the most used, most important functions used in the industry. The functions are if function, ifs function, we have if error, we have and or. These are the major functions which are used. Where do you find the logical functions? In the formulas tab? We can go to the formulas tab and here we have the logical option. These are list of all the logical functions which are available. Right now, we'll be covering 10 examples in this particular video. Let's see one by one. So the first thing, the scenario is very simple. Because we are in a learning place, we can see on a smaller data, practice and understand better. The first one, we have the list of all the prices and the question is, if it is greater than 2000, it should be true. If it is greater than 2000, it should be true again. So we'll see two different examples. Number one, if you see the if price is greater than 2000, then true, else false. So here these are different prices 3000, 1300, 16, 600, 100 and so on. So we want to find out the answer if it is greater than 2000. Very simple. Here we can just type equal to, press here left arrow key. When we select left arrow key, the cell number is A19 and here I can press greater than 2000. So when I type here greater than 2000, when the output comes, by the way, this is known as logical test. X, which is cell number greater than value, this becomes logical test. And here the greater than sign, I can put less than, greater than, equal to, not equal to and so on. So when I press enter, the output is given as a Boolean value which is true. The Boolean values are true and false. Carefully observe the alignment of this true is in the center. Now here I can click on this particular cell, double click on this small doctor symbol or fill handle option and the data gets dragged down. So true, false, false and so on. So if the value is not greater than 2000, it will show as false. Okay, very simple here. If I scroll down here on this location, now the second question is, if the price is greater than 2000, then give me as true, otherwise as false. But the problem here is the value is given here, which is in this particular cell, which is given as A31, which is 2000. Here, the value which was 2000 was inbuilt in that particular logical test in the cell itself. So it's a hard-coded value. Here, instead of getting a hard-coded value, we are making it more dynamic. So let me show you that example. Here we go. I can scroll down. Yes. So the formula becomes here. I can keep my cursor equal to, again the same cell which is A36 greater than, and now I can select A31. So I'm comparing this blue color highlighted cell with this red color highlighted cell. What is the difference? The output would be the same. There's no changes. But here I have a control. I can change the value in this cell and the formulas and the output will change in all the data. When I press enter and here I can just double click on small doctor. So suppose my boss gives me a different requirement. Instead of 2000, he says 2500. Inflation, there's a increment now. So 2500, enter. So here every place it will try to consider with 2500. If I change it to let's say 3500, enter, and you see very few options would be greater than this one, which is 3500. So let me just double click and find out what happened here. Yes, the problem here is if I double click on this location, it is giving the right answer. But if you carefully observe this particular cell, it is definitely not greater than 3500. So why it is giving us true value? Let's try to find out. From my keyboard, I can press Control Tilt option, okay, Control Tilt option, or maybe easy option is I can go to Show Formulas. Let me try to help you to find out why this answer is not correct, okay. So when I click on Show Formulas, you can see what is this value, A36 greater than A31, which is correct. Now when I go to this particular cell, it says A37 comparing with A32, it's coming down. If you see A31, 32, 33, 34, 35 and so on, so the value is incrementing. Same way here A36, A37 and so on. So I don't want this data to be moving. I want this particular cell should be fixed. This cell is being compared with all the cells here. So in order to do that, in the first place, I can double click. When the cursor is blinking between A31, I can press F4 or function F4. So what happens is this becomes $A$31. What is $A$31? It's known as absolute cell referencing. It is not going to change. Okay. So now I can click here. Now I can just double click. Carefully observe. A31 is a constant value in all the cells. So I'm comparing every cell with a constant cell here. So now I can just click on Show Formulas to make it back. Now if we check the answer, 1350 greater than 3500 false, 100 greater than 3500 false. So now the answers are correct. So earlier it was just moving down. The previous one was relative reference. If it is moving down, we have a topic coming very soon, relative reference and absolute reference, which I'll be showing right now. The third example, everyone, the question is score 1 should be above 60 and score 2 should be above 90. Now there are two conditions. The first one, if you see score 1 and score 2, these are the name of participants studying in some college or some school or maybe in a company. So score 1, score 2. But the criteria here is this, the score 1 should be above 60. This should be above 60. And second condition is this should be above 90. Now there are two logical tests which I have to bring together. Now if you want to bring two logical tests together and both should be true, we use a condition named as AND condition. So here we keep a cursor in this cell and we can type here equal to A and D. Equal to A and D, we can press tab key. Now here when I zoom the screen, we can see that it says logical 1, comma logical 2, comma logical 3 and so on. So logical 1 is the first test, which is score 1 greater than 60. Logical 2 would be score 2 greater than 90. Here we go. Score 1 is in the cell number B63 greater than 60, comma. Here we go as C63 greater than 90. Perfect. Now when both the conditions are true, then only I'll be getting the answer as true, otherwise false. So looking at this data, I think most of the conditions are given as false. So when I press enter, here if we see most of the conditions are false, only this one is true. Why? Because this one is greater than 60 and this one is greater than 90, which is true. Suppose if this value changes, if I write 65 and if I write 98, then this value becomes as true. So when we have more than one logical test, we use an AND operator. AND operator, both the conditions should be true. If any one condition is false, it will give us false. Okay. Now let's see the next one. The next one is semester 2 is greater than semester 1. This is the data. These are the participants in the training. We have Elon Musk, Biden, Rahul Ji, Mamta B, Aditya C. These are name of people. I've just masked it. You can understand. So semester 1, semester 2. If semester 2 is greater than semester 1, then increment or decrement. That means there are two semesters in a college. If a person is doing better job in the semester 2, that means he has done a good job. That's an increment. Otherwise, it's a decrement. So how do we do that? We can keep a cursor equal to this particular cell, semester 2 greater than, which is B80. This cell greater than this other cell, and I can press enter, and here I can double click. So what we understand from here is that these values are true. Semester 2 is better. So Elon Musk has done a good job. Then who has done a good job? Which is Biden is done. Then the next person is Mamta B. They have done a good job. But obviously true false nobody understands. I want to show to their parents, I want to show to their managers that it is an increment. Okay, it's not true false. Nobody understands true and false. So then we learn about the if condition. So if you want the output not as true and false, you want some numbers or some text, write, see the method how I'm writing is if open bracket. Before this logical test, you can put as equal to if open bracket, and here after this place put a comma, after the logical test as comma, put here 1 comma 0. What is 1 comma 0? 1 means if it is true it will give me 1, if it is false it will give me 0. So I can press enter. So wherever the conditions are satisfied it will give me 1, otherwise it will give me 0. Again 1 and 0 are not useful, nobody understands. So I can just double click here. Instead of 1 comma 0, now if I want to add a text, text should be in the double quotes. So I can put here increment, in double quotes decrement. So instead of 1 0, now we have added as increment decrement. So you can add as pass fail, you can add as whatever number you want, whatever text you want you can add here. But if it is numbers, you don't need double quotes, you just need straightforward numbers. So here we go, I can double click and bring it down. So let's check the answers. The last one, it says that earlier the person had 12, now the person is having 10, so it's a decrement. So let's see 60 and 71, there's an increment, which is correct answer. So remember, whenever you need output as a text, you need if function. Okay, if function gives you the output in the text or numbers. Moving further, the question number 5. So if geography, that let's find out the output here. This is the name of the participants, the geography marks and civics marks, and we want a result. Now there's a condition change here. Geography paper is out of 100 and the civics paper is out of 50. These are the subjects and schools. So geography out of 100 and the civics out of 50. So what is the condition for a person to pass in a college or school here? That in geography, the person has to score above 40 and in civics, the person has to score above 20. That's a criteria kept by the college or school. So now the conditions have changed. Equal to A and D. Remember, more than one condition we use AND function. Equal to A and D. This particular cell should be greater than 50 or let's say 40. Okay, this particular cell should be greater than 40 comma, and then the other cell which is C105 should be greater than 20. That's it. Now this both conditions, if they are satisfied, we'll be getting the answer as true. So if you see, the first person has passed and yes, few people have failed over here. So who has failed? In the false condition, Rahul Ji has got 81 in geography, but the person scored only 12. So civics, the person failed. If a person is failing in any one subject, the person is failed. Okay. But as I said, the output should be either pass or fail. It cannot be, true and false. So here we go. We can double click here and now multiple logical test. We need AND function. And if the output of AND function you want as true and false, we can put here or pass and fail if open bracket. Very simple, put if in the beginning and here at the end of the formula we can put comma pass comma fail. Comma pass comma fail. Perfect. So you can see here the logical test comma pass comma fail. So the first parameter, if you see, it's a logical test. Now it can be AND function, it can be OR function, it can be some other function here, but that's a syntax. Okay. So when we put here enter and if we double place. Now please observe here, when it was true and false, the text alignment was in the center of the cell. Now when the text, it's a text option, the alignment has gone on the left hand side. If I give the output or if I expect the output in numbers, it will be on the right hand side. So you should be able to quickly understand it's a text, it's a number or a Boolean value. Now little more complicated and let's find out the answer here. So these are name of all the people working in the company. Satya Nadella, Tim Cook, Sundar Pichai, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg and so on. These are people working in one company. Now these are the salaries for them per annum. Let's consider a hypothetical case and this is a division they are working. And then they have a rating which is 3, 4, 1 and 5 and so on. And now what is the question? Okay, so that's the data, name of the person, their salary, their rating and their department. Okay, the division. So the question is, we want to find out whether the person is eligible for a bonus or not. Okay, so we want to find out the answers here. But the problem is we cannot give bonus to everyone in the company. It will be a problem. We want to find out the bonus based on some condition, some criteria. So the conditions are given here that first thing, the rating should be between 1 to 3. If a person is performing very good, he's obviously eligible for increment. Number one. Number two, the division is CDFD. That means the company has got a budget for this particular department, for that particular division, which is CDFD. And third, the person should have a salary less than $50,000. Obviously, if the salary is more than 50,000, he doesn't need an increment as per the data what it says. So these are three conditions. Now, if all the conditions satisfied, the person is eligible to get a bonus, otherwise not eligible. So how do we do that? Earlier, if you remember, we have taken two logical tests and one AND function. Now we have three logical tests and we'll use same AND function. Let's do it. So first one, equal to A and D, open bracket. So first condition is that this particular cell, which is rating, okay, D130, it should be less than 4. Okay, I can put here less than 4. So what is less than 4? 3, 2, 1. These are the less than 4 options, comma. Then this particular cell, which is C130, okay, C130, it's a division and division should be equal to CDFD. So I can put here CDFD, comma, and third one, this particular cell, which is salary, should be less than 50,000. That's it. Three conditions. When I press enter, I'm getting false. If I put double click here and I'm getting true. So only one person, it looks like the person is having less than 50,000. He belongs to CDFD. He or she belongs to that. And the rating is 2. So this person is eligible. Now, obviously, as I told you earlier, we cannot understand true and false value. Nobody in the company will understand true and false. We want the output as eligible or not eligible. So we double click on this place and here the method of writing is, in the beginning we write as if open bracket. Here we go, we write as if open bracket, and here at the end of the function, or in the formula bar, we can put comma eligible. Okay. Because if that condition is satisfied, instead of true, give me eligible, comma, in double quotes, not eligible. Well, and close the bracket. So eligible or not eligible, and we can press enter here. So now when we double click, instead of true and false, we are getting the values as eligible, not eligible. So let's test it and let's find out whether you are eligible or not. Suppose if I join a company, my name is PavanLalwani, and if the salary is, let's say, 10,000 US dollars, I belong to CDFD, and now I have a rating of 3. The moment I press enter, this not eligible should change to eligible. Okay, so here what is the mistake? Let's find out. CDFC. So the problem is I don't belong to CDFD, I belong to CDFD. CDFD. Enter. Now if you see, I've changed the spelling here. Now I'm eligible for this particular bonus. So it's a good news. And let's go for the next example. The next one is give grades based on rating, nested if conditions. Now what is the rating over here? These are the people working in the company right now, and if the person is having a rating between 1 to 3, he belongs to a good category. If the rating is between 4 to 5, is okay category. If the rating is between 6 to 8, then the rating is he comes to a grade named as bad. Now, people who come in this bad category, they are the first people to go outside the company when there's a recession, when there's a review meeting or something happening. These are the people 1 to 3 who get good increment in the company based on their performance, and they are most liked by the company managers. So now what we want is, based on this condition, we want to give the output here. Now, there are 3 outputs which you want. Okay. So if it's good, okay and bad. Remember, if condition gives you only 2 output, true output or false output, either pass or fail, or increment or decrement. But if you want 3 outputs, we cannot use one if function, we need 2 if functions. So let's do it, everyone. So we can just pick up this data a little above here, right? Let's do it. Equal to if open bracket. The first condition is that if the rating is less than 4, I'll write as less than 4, it belongs to good. So we can select this cell, less than 4 and comma, it belongs to good category. Okay, so that's the first output we'll be getting. But now again, these are 2 conditions. So these 2 conditions, I have to use one more if condition. So I'll write as if open bracket, one more if condition, select the same cell. If it is less than 6, comma, it belongs to okay, otherwise it belongs to bad. Okay, and close to bracket. So if you see, if multiple if come into the Excel, it's known as nested if function, and we can press enter. So now if I double click on this location, you can see if the person is having rating 5 is okay, so it is 4 to 5 okay. If the person is having 1 rating, it's good. If the person is having 8 rating, if the person is bad. So this way, if you want nested if condition, that's a method. Now this was followed in the previous version of Excel, and now in the latest version of Excel, we have a new function available. Let me show you that thing. For some people, it would be difficult. So people who are in the older version, try this method. And now people who are in the new version, the new function has come as IFS, ifs condition. And let's try to do the same example with the help of ifs function. So the condition is same. If you see here, give grades based on rating, ifs function. So that's a grading and ratings given here. We want to give the output. So function is ifs equal to IFS, and we press tab key from a keyboard. So carefully observe the syntax. The first one says logical test value if true, logical test 2 value if true. Okay, so like this we have to keep on adding. So here we go. If this particular cell is less than 4, then it becomes as good, comma. If again this particular cell is less than let's say 6, then it becomes as okay, comma. Again if this particular cell is less than 9, then it becomes as bad. Okay, so same 3 conditions, because I remember I'm just adding these options here. So if it is less than 4, good, less than 6, okay, and less than 9, it is bad. So we have seen this table over here. Now the beautiful part here is I don't have to use nested if functions. Okay, now I can press enter and double click on this box. So this way we get all the output with the help of the new function, which is if function. Now when we scroll down here, okay, so that is one example, if and ifs function. And the last one is what do you call, if error function. So if error function is something which is important. Usually when you get an error, it becomes as #NA or no value and so on. So it becomes difficult for a person to understand what is that value here. Let's see an example. So if error, then replace with invalid quantity. So these are the name of people. They have done the sales in thousands, and that's a quantity. So what I want is, I want to divide the sales by quantity. Here we go, equal to the sales divided by quantity. Very simple. If we divide this B252 by C252, if you see the color, red color with red color, blue color with blue color. So when we press enter, we got the value, and if I double click, I've got the answer. What it says is 81 divided by 0. People who are in school and college, they understand 81 divided by 0. It says you cannot divide a number by 0. It will give you infinity. And here it says hash cannot divide by 0. Okay, hash cannot divide by 0, exclamation. So obviously if I'm creating a column chart, pie chart, bar chart or something, this will not help me to create a chart. This will give a problem. So what I want is, instead of this error, I want the output as invalid quantity. Okay, instead of this error, it should write invalid quantity, because quantity cannot be 0. Okay, so here we go. The method to write this function would be, here we can double click. In the beginning we can write as if error, press tab key. So here in the beginning we have written as if error, and at the end we can write as comma invalid. That's it, comma invalid. So whenever the value is true, or if it is giving the output, it will give the output. If not, it will give me the error value, which is invalid. So here we go, enter, and now same thing, double click, and I've got the output. So this makes a lot of sense instead of just giving an error message. So when I go for creating charts or something, I can make sure I can replace with 0. Or if I'm going for a presentation, instead of error message, I can tell them it's an invalid quantity. I can double click, I can write as invalid quantity, enter. And that's it. So this way it makes more sense rather than just giving the #NA message over here. Okay, so these are all the 10 examples available in the logical functions. There are plenty of logical functions available. So these are just tip of the iceberg. So a person who is new to this Excel has to know this basic functions which are available, and there are plenty of functions here. If you go in the formulas tab, and these are plenty of functions, but very rarely used functions. So you can just focus on this major functions in Excel. So I hope you have understood about the logical functions in Excel and a mega shortcut, a master shortcut in Microsoft Excel. This shortcut name is Flash Fill. It is having a capability of replacing 50 functions in Microsoft Excel, 50. So you don't have to remember upper, lower, proper, all these different functions. It is capable of replacing many of the functions. It is useful for increasing the productivity in the company. Very few companies, very few people in the world know this shortcut. Let's try to understand. I have given the name as master shortcut. It's one of my favorite shortcut in Excel. So the name is Flash Fill. Let's try to understand. Here we go. This is the data. If you see, the name of the months are given. Let me increase the size. These are name of the months given here, which is January, February, March till October. Now what I want to do here is, I just want to find out the first character of every word from here. So usually the function name is left function in Excel. So here I can just type J being the first alphabet, and we can press enter. That's it. J, enter, no function required, and you have to just press one shortcut from a keyboard, which is Control E. The moment you press Control E, you'll be getting all the first alphabet from every word from here. Okay, if I type here, let's say JAN, enter, so it will give me all the first three characters from this data. So it's just very simple here. Similarly, if I want, let's say to convert this data, let's say into uppercase. If I want to convert the data into uppercase, in Excel we have a function as equal to upper. But today I'll not write any function, I'll write as January in uppercase, and that's it. Once I press enter, press Control E from a keyboard. That's it. Control E, and all the text is converted into uppercase. Similarly, if I want to convert into lowercase, the small case over there, type small case January, no need of any function, press Control E. That's it. You'll be getting here. If I want the first three characters, enter Control E. If I want the last three characters, here on the right hand side, I can just type here, let's say ARY. Last three characters, and I'll be getting the answer here. When I press Control E, I was expecting last three characters from every data here. But the problem here is, it is not given the last three characters. It has given some other value here. So the problem here is, it is giving the data from the fifth character. If you notice carefully, from the last place, if you see OCTOB, B is the fifth character. So most of the places it is giving data from the fifth character. But what is the main question? We want last three characters. Control Z. If it is not working according to our expectation, it's our duty, it's our job to teach Excel what we want. So I will teach one more time ARY. First time ARY, second time ARY, Control E. When I teach multiple times, it understands what I want from Excel, and then it gives the last three characters here. So uppercase, lowercase, first three characters, last three characters, and also proper case, we can get it from this data here with same shortcut. Similarly, these are the text. If you see the names of people, the famous people in the world, and suppose these are Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Shah Rukh Khan, Priyanka Chopra, and so on. So if I want the first thing from here, let's say if I want the first name from here, I can just type as Sachin. If you remember, in the text function, we have seen many functions like text before, text after. We have seen the replace, find, and other functions. So it becomes a little confusing for a person who is new, and you don't have time, you are busy in the company to remember all those functions. Just type the first name, press Control E. That's it. You get the first name from everywhere. If you want the last name, just type Tendulkar and press Control E. You get last name from all the data. That's it. Very simple. If you want the initials of every name, let's say Sachin Tendulkar S space T, Sachin Tendulkar S space T, Control E. So this will give you the initial letters from all the places. If you see VK, Virat Kohli, SK, Shah Rukh Khan, which is given PC, Priyanka Chopra, maybe, yes, all the data here. Now if I want to reverse the text, okay, reverse, there's no function in Excel to reverse the text. But suppose if I want to reverse a text, let's say Tendulkar Sachin. Okay, enter. Now I can press Control E, and it will automatically change the position. If you see Kohli, Virat, Khan, Shah, Chopra, Priyanka, somewhere it is wrong. So I have to teach once and twice and thrice. I'll get the answer. So this way I can reverse the first name, last name, Control Z. That is one method. Or if I want to replace the first word, suppose my name is Pavan here. So if I write as Pavan, in schools and colleges we used to write as Navap. So how to reverse the string? Nihcas. Okay, AS, enter, and Control E. So this will reverse a text from the data. If you see, it will reverse the text and give me the output. So it's not required usually, but you can reverse the string from here. For time being, I can write as, let's say, Sachin T or Tendulkar Sachin, and I can press Ctrl E. So it will reverse the first name, last name. It will exchange the positions here. So Ctrl E, only one shortcut. Let's see one more. I have the first name and last name, and if I want to concatenate these two cells together, in Excel there's a function named as equal to concatenate, or you can write a formula. But suppose you are busy, as I said, you don't remember the functions, you just type the first name, last name, let's say as Gopal Agrawal, enter, and then press Ctrl E. That's it. Just type the first name, Ctrl E, you will get the answers here. Now, suppose I work as a HR in the company, and the company is very small, let's say 100, 200 people. My job is to create email ID of all the new freshers who are onboarded. These are new people in my company, and I want to create email ID for them. So you know, right, how to create an email ID: first name dot last name at facebook.com, at gmail.com. So email IDs are difficult to create. But here you can create email ID in just, let's say, 2 seconds or 5 seconds. So I can write as Gopal.Agrawal at, let's say, what should I give? Let's say facebook.com. Enter, Ctrl E. That's it. So it will give me the first name dot last name at facebook.com. So not only this, suppose if I want some other data here, let me go to home and I can clear all. So suppose I want some other email address. So I'll write here as, let's say, Gopal.Agrawal at, let's say, technohls.com. Control E, and I'll get all the email IDs of those people with first name dot last name. Now in the company, when you're on the bench, the managers trouble you a lot, and they ask you, don't give me first name dot last name, give me last name dot first name. Okay. And when I started in the company, I used to think a lot, find out the answers. Then GPT was not there, but now GPT is there. However, without GPT, if you want to quickly get the answers, you can do one thing. You can delete this data. Let's say you want last name dot first name. So let's say Agrawal, Agrawal dot Gopal at technohls.com, Control E. And if you see, last name dot first name at technohls.com. So we get all the answers here. Now some places you don't want to give the last name, because people who get the last name, they try to calculate. Okay. So we'll give this Gopal.A, Aniket.K, Rahul.S, Raju.C. So we can give those names as well. So let's see, we can delete this data. So I can write as Gopal.A at Bajaj.com, enter, Control E. So this way I can get the last name first alphabet and I can get the answer. So trust me, the Control E shortcut is very useful and it is going to save a lot of time in the company. Moving further, now if you see, we have this data. Okay, carefully observe. It's a combination of colors: red, red, red. Then we have blue, green and black, gray, blue and gray, and so on. Now what we want here is, we want the first name. Okay, if you want the first name, we'll type here as red, R-E-D, enter. And the moment we press Ctrl E, if you see, we have got red, blue, gray and so on. So that's a first value which you have got. So the data is separated by a delimiter, which is hyphen. Now suppose I want the last value: red, black, gray, white and so on. So when I press Ctrl Z, I have to teach Excel one more time that I'm looking for the last value, red and black. The moment I press Ctrl E, and if you see, gray, white, orange, red and red. So this way I've got the data. So you can swap the data, we have seen earlier. You can change the data, you can extract the data. In order to get this answer, we have learned a function named as text split in Excel, okay, or also left and right and mid. This is the easiest method which you can get the output. Now, this was all about the text functions in Excel, which can be replaced by one shortcut. Now, imagine there are some date functions: day, month and year. If you remember, in the date functions, we have learned functions like equal to day, equal to month, equal to year. But now, without using functions, can we get those output? Carefully observe. That's a DDMMYY. And if I want to get the year as an output, I'll write as 2012, enter, Control E. So when I put 2012, Control E, and you can see we have got the data over here, but there's a problem. Okay, it's not able to understand the pattern. So we can press Control Z, and here somewhere at the bottom, 2013, Control E. So wherever the pattern was changing, we tried to explain the Excel on that location. It understood that data and we got the answer here. Similarly, if you want to get the output as day, 24, enter Control E, and we have got all the days from the data set. If you want the year, 07, Control E, and we get the data. So it's not that difficult. You just need to teach Excel the right example and it will give you the output. So this was the flash fill. Now the next one is time. How do I extract the hours and minutes and seconds from a data? Very simple. You just type 01, enter, Control E. This will extract the time from there, which is the hours. But carefully observe, in row number, this one, if you see, I was expecting 11, but it gave me the answer as 1. So what Excel is thinking, we just want the first value. We want that 01, we just want 146, the second value. So Control Z, Control Z. I can teach single quote 01, enter. Single quote, if I apply, if I put here the value as single quote 01. What is single quote? It will convert the number into a text. Why? Because the moment I was entering 01, Excel only captured 1 because 0 it has discarded, it has eliminated. So I will type here 01. This will convert into a text, enter, Control E. Now if you see carefully, we have got the value as 11, here we got the value as 11 and here 12. So now you will be getting the output here. Similarly, if I want the minute, I'll type 12, Control E, and let's see if I got, yes, the answers is correct for all the minutes here. Same way you can pick up seconds and EM, PM, everywhere you can pick up. So these are the options here. Let's see some more examples. Suppose I have this data, okay, in this location, and what I need to find out is, this is the phone numbers. Now these are phone numbers from Pune. Pune is a city in India. It's an educational hub. All the IT companies are there. I stay and I'm recording from there. If I want this mobile phone numbers to be having a postal code or in calling code, how do I do that? So here I can put in bracket, let's say 020, okay, and then I can put the number 2065874545, enter. So 020 is a prefix which I've added in those phone numbers and I can press Control E. So everywhere if you see 020, 025, 021, but I wanted 020 everywhere. I didn't wanted different numbers. So let me cross check if there's a mistake. 2065874545, Control Z. I have to teach one more time. Okay, so it comes 25369874555, enter, Control E. And if you see everywhere there's a prefix 020 added here. Now the next one, there is a student ID. Now it becomes very difficult for a person to read the entire student ID in one go. Okay, so usually if you see the credit card numbers on your mobile phone, on your credit card number, the number is 16 digits. It is divided into 4 parts, 4-4-4. So 4 digits the number should be there. Why it is done? To give it more readability. It becomes very easy to read it. Same way, if I want the student ID, every 3 numbers or every 3 digits should be separated by hyphen. So here I can go back. I can type 880-712-259, enter. That's it. So I've separated 3 digits by hyphen, Control E, and I've got the answer. So the answer is absolutely correct. So the way you want the data to be, given as an output, you can get it. If you try to do the same thing without using Control E, it is going to take you minimum 10 minutes if you're an expert in Excel. If you're not an expert in Excel, 30 minutes are gone. Why to waste 30 minutes of your life? Just try to use this shortcut, Control E. And similarly, the next one we have learned for text functions, date function. Let's see some number functions. I have got this sales which is in the rupees 97.65, 51.54 or something 04. If I want the number which is integer 97, enter, Control E. I have separated the integer value. Similarly, if I want the decimal value, I'll type here 65, enter, Control E. It has separated the decimal values. And similarly, if I just want to add another prefix, because very few people understand this rupee symbol. If I put as rs dot 97.65, enter, Control E. So I can add my own prefix in this data. You can see rupees. I can put USD, I can put INR, whatever I want, I can add here. So I can extract this data. However, if you try to do it without using Control E, it is going to take a lot of time. So these are all the shortcuts, one shortcut, all the functions, and I've given the name as master shortcut. It's one of my favorite shortcut in Excel and it has saved a lot of time People whom I show, who are experienced people, enjoy this shortcut and it's very useful here. So I hope you have understood the master shortcut, which is Control E, a flash fill in Microsoft Excel. Name range. Now, name range is a very important concept, again useful for saving lot of time, and it can help you write your functions and formulas very easily. Let's try to understand. We are in a sheet named as name range, and where exactly is the name available? So here on the top, if you see, this is the form of name box. This area is known as name box. This area is known as the formula bar. What are the topics we are going to cover in this video is we'll be learning about what is name range, how do we create a name range, how do we edit a name range, how do we delete, how do we navigate, and use the name range in functions. We'll try to use that thing. So this one is the use name range in functions. These are major topics. Now first thing, everybody knows Excel, most of you people, but let me try to give you some more additional thing in this. Let's say if I have some numbers 10 to 100 on this location. The question is, I want the sum of all these numbers in Excel. How do I get it? Let me zoom the screen. These are the numbers and we want the addition of these numbers. Normally what people think is, they click here and they type as equal to sum. Some easy method is, people think like here we can put alt equal to, that's one shortcut, alt equal to from a keyboard and you get the answers. That is one method, which is 550. Second method is, people write here as equal to sum, open bracket, equal to sum, sum, press tab key, and then we can select the range of numbers, which is C1 to C10. This is the way we have selected, close the bracket and enter. Okay, so this way we have got the answer as 550. But now, however, if I go to some new sheet, let me go to a new sheet, zoom the screen, and here if I want sum, open bracket, if I want sum of those numbers in this sheet, how do I get it? Equal to sum, open bracket, go to that sheet, then we can select this data here. Okay, then we can select this data and the data would be selected, press enter. So the answer we have got 550. But now let's understand, in real world, when you're working in a company, the data is not just 10 words or 10 cells, it is a thousands and thousands of cells. Okay, number one. Number two, the number of sheets in the Excel will be more, 20, 30, 50, depends on the company you're working. How to make this job easier? Let's try to understand. This range, when we select, okay, if I select this data over here, in the name box on the top left hand side, that's a name box. Here in the name box, I can give a name, let's say as Pavan, and I can press enter. Make sure you press enter, that is important. People forget pressing enter from a keyboard. So selected the range, click in the name box, type the name, enter. And then what is the beauty about this function? Now if I type here as equal to sum, press tab key. If I type sum, I don't have to select that 10 cells. Even if it is 1000 cells, I don't have to select. I can just type my name, PAVN, and close the bracket. So if you see the blue color, it is selecting the range over here. So when I press enter, I've got the answer. Equal to, now let me zoom the screen so that you understand. So here again we can type as equal to average and equal to average, press tab key, and my name Pavan, close the bracket, enter. Equal to, we can type here as minimum, equal to minimum, press tab key, and the name we can put here, equal to max, and we can put the name, and equal to count, and we can put the name over here, equal to count, and we can put the name, close bracket. So not only this basic functions, but you can add many functions. VLOOKUP, you can add SUMIF, COUNTIF, AVERAGEIF. Almost 200 plus functions can use this name range, okay, which is very easy. So now the beautiful part is yet to come. If I go to any sheet in that Excel, and here if I type a formula equal to SUM, press tab key, I don't have to go and search that sheet. I don't have to go and select that data of 1000 cells. I can just type the name as Pavan. And that's it. So when I press enter, I'm still getting the answer over there. So it is a smart work, not a hard work now. That is the use of name range here. Second, if there are many sheets and if I missed where is the data, okay, usually the names are given in a very good format. The names are, let's say, sales, the profit, the count, or employees or students and all. So that range is given a logical name, not names like Pavan and everything. So these are some logical names given. If I want to go to that place where the data is there, I can click on this name box and you can see the name would appear over there, When I click on this name, it will take me to that location. If I click on this drop down and if I select the name, it will take me to that location where the range is available here. So that is the beautiful part. So what we have understood is what is a name range, how do we create a name range, how do we navigate a name range, navigate. Also, we have learned about how to use name range in functions, sum, average, minimum, maximum, those places. Now, suppose you want to edit the data. Okay, suppose I want 500, 600, 700. Now, here the name range, if I click on this drop down, select, the name range is still A1 to, C1 to C10 or whatever number. But if I want to add this 3 more cells into that, okay, because my data keeps on increasing, I want to add a data. So one method is you create a table, there you don't have to worry. But without table, if you want to do that, you can go to the formulas menu bar, and this area is known as the defined names. This is the group name. Here, if I want to include 3 extra cells, I have to go to name manager. This name manager is a box where you can see plenty of different names. Name 1, name 2, 100 names can be there, more than that. And if I want to change the name, okay, instead of Pavan, I want to make it as, let's say, Mukesh, okay, and instead of some data I want to change. So I can just select, click on edit, and let me zoom the screen so you can see, instead of Pavan, I'll put here, let's say, Mukesh, and instead of C10, we put here C13, and then click on OK. So when we click on close, and now if we click on drop down, okay, if you click on drop down, the name has not come, maybe some mistake, so we can go back. So here the name range was selected something wrong, so let me delete. Yeah, so I've selected this range over here and then click on OK and click on close. So now when we click on this drop down, if you see, the name is now Mukesh, it's no more Pavan. When we click on this drop down, we have got this Mukesh here. So if I click here on this location, if I click on this place, if you see, the name Pavan has automatically been changed to Mukesh. So that's a beautiful part. You can rename that name range, you can modify the range area, the cells you can modify. Okay, that's the best part right now. Now, this was about creating. Now, let's say about if you want to delete a name range, how do you delete? You can go to name manager, and here, this is the place where you can delete. You can just click on delete option and then click on OK and close. So this way the name range would be deleted. Now no more the address name is given. These are just cells given, which is C1 to C13. That's what you can call. Now the other method is, these are some data sets. Okay, that's some data set right now, which is the name, date of birth, division and salary. These are 4 columns. What we want to do here is, I want to give this area as name 1, this area as date of joining, this area as division and salary. So one method is, I can select this area. Please see, I can select this area over here. In the name box, I can type as name 1, enter. So one by one I can do it. But imagine if there are 40 columns, do I have that much time to do for every column? I cannot do that. So I selected this data, gave the name 1. But suppose for this 3 columns, if I want the heading as a name range, okay, so this area should be date of joining, this area should be division. So then I can select this area and then click on create from selection. This option, if you see, create from selection, and here the top row should be given the name to the data. So when we click on OK, what is happening? Nothing happens on the screen, but from this drop down, if you select, you can see the names are given as date of joining 1, the name 1, salary 1, and if you see, division 1. So all these names are given. If we select the option as division 1 from this drop down, let's say division 1, this range gets selected. If we select from this drop down as, let's say, name 1, this gets selected. If I select salary 1, this gets selected. So if there are 40-50 columns, we just need to select those data and select the option as create from selection and top row. That's the option here. So this way we have added the name range here. So that's it. I think you have understood why this topic is taken, because coming forward, we have some statistical functions, around 20-30 functions are there. We would require this name range in all the places. So therefore, we have taken this topic in the beginning. So that's it. I hope you have understood, everyone, how to use the name range in Excel for your easiness. Here we'll be learning about the statistical functions in Microsoft Excel. Statistical functions are the most important in Excel, where we can get all the calculations, aggregation calculations, especially in Excel. What are the statistical functions? There are plenty of statistical functions, but there are some more important functions which are written on the screen. Here we'll be learning about sum if, sum ifs. What is sum function? It's an aggregation, but sum if is with a condition. If this condition is satisfied, then give me the sum. Sum ifs means if multiple conditions are satisfied, then give us the sum. Similarly, we have count, counta, countif and countifs, average, average if, minimum, minif and minifs, max, maxif and maxifs, small and large. So these are approximately 15 functions which you'll be learning right now in this section. So let's begin. Where do we have the statistical functions? In the formulas tab, more functions, statistical functions. So in Excel overall there are 400 plus functions. In statistical, if you see, these are the list of all the functions available. Not every function would be useful, but we have written the most important function which are available at the backend. So here we'll be using a very small data just for learning purpose, and we'll try to implement the functions on that. Let's have a look. So let's see the first data we have. We have the name of the person, date of joining, the division and the salary. These are 4 columns what we have. What are we going to learn over here? We'll learn about the sum if and sum ifs function over here. These are 3 functions. And here let us minimize this data. And these are the questions what we want to find out. Okay. So we want to find out the total salary from this data set. So it says the calculate total salary. Then we want to find out the total salary greater than 20,000. In the salary column, there are some people who are having salary more than 20,000. So we want to have a count of those people. Okay, we want to have a sum of those things. Third thing, calculate salary of HR department. If you see on this data on the top, there are different departments: admin, finance, HR, and so on, marketing. So HR department, wherever people are there, we want total of that salary. Okay, calculate total salary greater than 20,000 and HR department. That means 2 conditions. One is HR department, one is greater than 20,000 salary. Now, 3 functions we are going to learn here: sum, sumif and sumifs. So the first one, if you observe here, calculate total salary, we do not need any condition over. It's a straightforward function. So we can type equal to sum bracket open, and here we can select this range over here, which is salary 1. So when we select this data and then close a bracket, enter. So total salary is 184,000. So which is the total salary. No conditions are there. Straightforward answer. Now the next one is the sum if function. We'll be learning total salary, but the condition is greater than 20,000. So carefully observe in this data, 21,000, 30,000, 25,000. These are 3 salaries which are above 20,000 here. Now what we want is the count I've shown, but we want sum of those 3 salaries. Okay. So 21 plus 30 plus 25, this is what we want. So for sum if function, there are 2 things you have to remember. One is the sum of a column. Okay, that's an aggregation of column. And second is your condition or criteria. Okay, condition or criteria. Let's understand. So for us, we can type here equal to sum, open tab here. Let's say equal to sum if, sum if, press tab key. Now here comes the range, comma criteria, comma sum range. Range criteria. So right now we have a range which is given on the top like this one. This is the range what we have, and then we can put here comma, and the condition is greater than 20,000. So this greater than 20,000 we have to put in double quotes, greater than 20,000, and close the bracket, enter. So this way we have got the answer as 76,000 as a value. Let us minimize this option. Now 76,000 is the salary of those employees which are above 20,000 here. Okay. Now this function is very simple. This function, if you see, equal to sum. Okay, and similarly if I go back to this cell, this is also very simple, nothing difficult. But what I want here is to make it more simplified, more easy for a person to understand. What we can do here is, we have learned the name range in the previous example. What we can do is, right now in this place, if you see, there are few names which are given. Okay, so we will delete these names which are given. How do we delete the name range? Formulas menu bar, name manager, we can select all 4 and delete. So we have deleted the names. Now this range, if you see this data, we are going to give the names on the top. Okay, why we are doing? So that when writing the function, it becomes little easy for us. Okay, we have selected this range, formulas menu bar, then we can click on create from selection and select top row. So whatever is on the top row will become a name of that range, and then click on OK. Now here we go. So remember, name 1, date of joining 1, division 1, salary 1. So here if you see name 1, division 1 and so on. So let's delete these functions and write again equal to sum and bracket open here equal to sum, press tab key, and this will become a salary 1. It's so easy for a person to write and remember instead of selecting this data. Similarly, equal to sum if, press tab key, here becomes my salary 1, comma, in double quotes greater than 20,000, close the bracket. So equal to sum if salary and above 20,000. That's so easy. Now the next one, here this is little complex. We want calculate the salary, okay, which is in the salary 1 column, but the condition is in which column? In this particular column, which is for the department. If you see division 1. So here in division 1, the criteria is the what HR, but the sum is of this salary column. So now here the formula will be something different, equal to sum if, press tab key. Now carefully observe, there are three things. One is a range in which you have a criteria. Range where you have a criteria, and sum range. Sum range is obviously a salary column. Criteria is the HR because we want the HR department, and range becomes a department here. Let's do it. So division 1, comma, in double quotes HR, comma, and salary 1. Press tab key. So carefully observe, this one becomes my range, criteria, and this is what you call sum range. Enter, and this is the answer which I've got. So let's calculate. Let's find out the answer, 28,000. If you observe HR department, these are two departments, and if you combine the salary of this two department becomes 28,000. Okay, that's the answer here. Now here, calculate total salary greater than 20,000 but of HR department. Now we do not have any salary of HR department greater than 20,000. But let's calculate, let's understand. Equal to sum if. Now please understand there are two conditions. One condition greater than 20, second condition is HR department. When you have more than one condition, we use sum ifs function. So there's a sum ifs function. Here it becomes sum range, which is my salary 1, comma. Next is criteria range 1 and criteria 1. Criteria range 1 is right now division 1. If you see division, comma, here the division is HR, comma, and criteria 2 becomes my salary range. Okay, so it is salary 1, comma, which is greater than 20,000. Perfect. So this is what I have. In this column, I have this condition. In this column, that's a condition. When we press enter, the answer is 0. As I said, there is no person in HR whose salary is about 20,000. So if I make this value as 28,000, if I make this value 50,000, so now 28 plus 50 becomes as 78,000. So this way we have got multiple condition becomes sum ifs function here. Okay. So these are three functions. So these are three functions, sum, sum if and sum ifs function. If you understand this three, the remaining functions are super easy. Okay, let's try to understand. The next functions are count, COUNTIF, COUNTIF and statistical functions. Let's find out the answer. Now the data is very small and simple because we are learning right now. In the companies, the data is huge, big and difficult to understand. So for training, learning purpose, small data is sufficient to give you the output. So these are the fruits and these are the quantity. The first question is total quantity. You can find out the count of quantity. Second is count how many fruits are there. So count the quantity first, then count the fruits. The third question would be count quantity greater than 70. In this column, if we have a quantity greater than 70, we want to find how many of them are there. And the fourth one would be count quantity between 70 and 90. So the condition is between 70 and 90, find out the quantity. Let's begin everyone. So first condition is select this data and give a name range. Why we are doing this? To make our job easy while writing a function. We selected the data menu bar and then click on formulas, create from selection. Remember, doing this activity is not compulsory, but it is a best practice. So we select this data, click on this create from selection and click on top row. Okay. So when we select this area, you can see the name on the top is quantity 1. If you select this area, the name on the top is fruits 1. First question, count quantity. So we can type as equal to count and here quantity. Equal to count and then quantity 1. When we press enter, the answer is correct, which is 10. But if you want to find out the fruits count, okay, if you type here as fruits 1, close the bracket, enter, the answer is given as 0. Why 0? The answer is correct. Okay. Count is a function used only for numbers. If you want to count a text, we use a function named as count a. So here, instead of count, we have to type here as count a. Count a is a function to count the textual values. Okay. Or I can say non-empty cells. To be more specific, non-empty cells, we use a function count a. Okay. The next one is count quantity greater than 70. So condition is the quantity one column should be greater than 70. Okay. So let's begin here, equal to count if. So range becomes my quantity, comma, and then criteria becomes as greater than 70. Enter, and there are 6 quantities which are greater than 70. So we have got the output here. Okay. Similarly, the next one would be count quantity between 70 and 90. Okay. So 70 and 90. So we can put here as count ifs. Okay. So the condition, the criteria range would be as quantity 1, comma, which is criteria 1 is 70, greater than 70, and comma, again quantity, close bracket, and which is less than 90. Enter. So now the next one we can find out how to find out the count of apples with quantity less than 50. So we have two criteria. One is we want fruits as apples, and second is quantity should be less than 50. So here we go. We can keep a cursor and write as equal to COUNTIF, press tab key. The range would be, now because there's a two conditions, we cannot use COUNTIF, we have to use COUNTIFs function here. So first one is criteria range 1 would be, we'll write as fruits 1 should be given as apples, comma, and second one would be as quantity 1 and comma, it should be less than 50, close the bracket, enter. So this says apples with less than quantity 50 are not there. Let's find out. We have apples 99, apples as 68, apples as 50, apples as 80. So definitely apples is not there less than 50. If we make as 48, then we get a count as 1. So therefore this answer is working, COUNTIFs function. Now same goes for average, average if and average ifs. So here we have the data. Right now there are 3 columns. One is city, fruits and quantity. City, fruits and quantity. So the question here is average of quantity, no condition, nothing is there. Average of quantity of apples, we have to find out. Average of this quantity where there are apples. Average of quantity greater than 70 and so on. So these are some questions. So first thing, let's do it everyone. We can just keep a cursor, Control A, Formulas tab, and we can click on Create from Selection. We can select the option as top row. Now this area is known as, it's given as city 3. So same way, this area would be known as, let's say, fruits 3. So first question, if you observe here, average of quantity. The average of quantity can be calculated. Let me zoom. It can be equal to average and press tab key. So the quantity column quantity 3, close the bracket. So average quantity 3, enter. Now the second one is average of quantity where it is apples. So we can put here average if condition. Average if condition, and this is a function, if you see, range, criteria, average range. So average range becomes our quantity 3, the criteria becomes our apples, and range becomes as this one, fruit 3. So fruit 3, comma, in double quotes we can write as apples, comma, here becomes as quantity 3, and then close the bracket. That's it. So this becomes our average where the fruit is apple. Now let me put here some what do you call this option here, which is split. Let's put here split, and now we can see. The next question we have is average of apples and oranges. We want the average of both of them. So we can write as average ifs. Okay, the condition becomes as average if of apples and oranges. So we can add the averages. We can see the option here as average if, open bracket. The first one is the apples, which becomes as fruits 3, comma, in double quotes apples, comma, here becomes as quantity 3. So this way we can add the average of the other option, which is oranges. Same function, average if, we can put here average if, open bracket, here becomes fruits 3, comma, in double quotes oranges, comma, here becomes as quantity 3. Close the bracket. So what we have done is 2 averages we have calculated. Here it comes over there. You can also see the formula bar if it is not visible. In the function, in the formula bar, both the options are added. Now when we press enter, we have got the answer. So that is what we call average if. And similarly, the next one would be, we want to find out the average of apples in Goa city. Okay, so here we go, we can type as equal to average if, the condition is average ifs because these are multiple conditions. So the first condition you can see in the formula bar here, the average range becomes as quantity 3, comma, the criteria range 1 becomes over here as fruits 3, comma, the fruits is the apples, comma, then we have the city 3, comma, and the city is given as Goa. Goa is a very famous city in India. Every bachelor wants to go to that location. When we press enter, the answer is cannot divide by 0. So when we find out average if apples city 3 equal to Goa, in Goa there is an apple, there is no Goa city here. So we need to add Goa there. So let us put here Goa for apples. Yes. So there's the answer given here, which is average of apples in Goa, which is 40. So that's the correct answer here. So this way we have learned about the average functions inside the statistical functions. Similarly, we have the other options, which is minimum, minimum if, and minimum ifs. So these are very simple. Again, same thing which is carried out. We can do the same thing. We can select the data, formulas tab, create from selection, and click on OK. Now the first one is minimum of quantity, no condition. So we'll just type as equal to min, and here we can put as quantity 5, close the bracket. So if you see, this range is selected. You can see in the function or the formula bar, you can get the answers. Similarly, if you put here as equal to minimum if, because the second one is minimum quantity of apples. So the aggregation should be done for this column and the criteria is in this particular column. So the same thing, equal to min if, minimum ifs. Why ifs? Because there are two conditions, equal to min ifs, press tab key. So here becomes first criteria apples, second criteria becomes Goa, and third we want minimum of which column. So here becomes as quantity 5, comma, criteria range 1 becomes as fruits 5, comma, fruits are given as apples, comma, here becomes as city 5, comma, and here becomes the city as Goa. Close the bracket, enter. So the answer is given as 16. Over here we have Goa, apples, and 68. Goa, apples multiple times. So average is given as 16. So this is what you call min if. Same applies for max if. You can just try this example by yourself. And the last one, we have something new, which is small and large. Now usually if you want to find out minimum, maximum, we have the function as min and max. But small and large can give you some different answers as well, which is, for example, we want to find out the smallest quantity, but we want to find out the third smallest, the fifth smallest, and the fifth largest. So if you want a ranking wise minimum, maximum, you can still get the answers. So let's do it. First thing, we can just select the data. In the formulas menu bar, create from selection, and we can select the option top row, click on OK. Here the smallest quantity we can put as equal to small, press tab key, and here we can write as quantity 7. Close the bracket. So this is the smallest quantity, which is how much, and here we have to give comma 1. So smallest quantity is 15. So the function becomes as equal to small, the range number, range name, and comma 1, enter. So it is the first smallest. If I want the third smallest, equal to small, and we can put here equal to small, press tab key. Here becomes as quantity 7, comma, and the third smallest, comma 3. So 50 is the third smallest. So if you want to understand 15, 20, 30, 15, 20, 50, 50, 60. So these are in the ascending order. You can see the third smallest, and let's see the fifth smallest. It would be equal to small, press tab key. Here it would be quantity 7, comma, I want the fifth smallest, 60. If I want the largest, fifth largest, now the function and the syntax would be same. If you see the large, array and comma k. Array means the name of the range, you can say, or the cells, number of cells you can pick up here. We can put here quantity 7, comma 5. Close the bracket, enter. So 65 is the fifth largest item or the quantity in this column here. So these are the small and large functions. Okay, it's something different from minimum and maximum, but these are all the functions. So coming back to the topic, these are all the statistical functions available in Microsoft Excel, and there are plenty of more of them, but these are very common. A person who's beginning Excel, a person who is going to intermediate level should know this basic functions in Microsoft Excel. So I hope you have understood all the statistical functions we have covered in this video. Topic named as cell referencing, a very important topic for a person who's beginner. Cell referencing helps us to understand the relativity of the data. Okay, so there are three types of referencing in Microsoft Excel. The first one is the relative cell referencing, second one is the absolute cell referencing, and the third one is mixed cell referencing. Three different type of cell referencing. Normally we use the relative referencing by default everywhere. But if you want to work with the complex data, if you want to work with data which is more dynamic, we have to use the other two options. Let's try to understand about what is cell referencing and the first one option as well. So here we have some data, carefully observe. The first example will be talking about relative cell referencing. This is the data where we have a month, total revenue, total expenses. So what we want to find out is net income. If you carefully observe, we want to subtract the total expenses from the total revenue and find out what is the net income. And with every row, we want to change the data here. We want to change the answers. That means 730 minus 413, then 102 minus 169, then 10158 minus 258. So if you move it down, this data will become as cell referencing, which is relative. So if I put here equal to, and we can select the cell number which is B24 minus, we can select the option as C24. That's it. Carefully observe B24, B is the column name. Okay, that's the column name. 24 is the row number. And same way C is the column name, 24 is the row number. So when we subtract that, when we press enter, the answer is 317. If I double click on this small doctor symbol or known as fill handle, this will bring down the data. Now this tells me the net income is negative, negative, positive, positive, and so on. When I double click on this minus 67, you can observe what happened is the red and the blue line, the red and the blue boxes has shifted down. With every new cell, with every new formula, if you see the data is shifted down. Okay, if I double click, if I double click, if I double click. So which is absolutely right, because every data is unique, every row is unique, and I want to have that answer. So this is by default known as cell referencing, which is relative cell referencing. Let's see one more example to understand, which is again relative cell referencing. I have unit sales and I have quantity, and I just want to multiply both of them. So every row should have a multiplication, every row. So here I can do equal to, I can select the option as A54 multiplied by B54. That's it. A54 multiplied by B54, enter. And then I can just double click here. When I do that, again, if I double click, you can see everywhere the data is moving down, okay, which is required, which is the condition required. If I want to see all the answers together, I can go to the formula tab and I can click on show formulas on the right hand side, show formulas. And doing this, what happens is I can select and show you this answer. So when I move my cursor down, I can see all the formulas which are written. Plus I can see that the data is moving down, which is the requirement, which is the need of this requirement right now. Okay, which is again relative cell reference. Now the third type of referencing we have is absolute cell referencing. What exactly is that? Have a look here, that we have the name of people, we have the scores, and we have maximum score here. So name is Peter, Vihan, Atul, Pavan, and so on. These are the scores given, and the maximum score is 120. Not always you will have score as 100. Score will be from 60, from 40, from 120. Here we have from 120. Now the question here is, we want to divide and see what is the percentage of this value. So 42 divided by 120, 76 divided by 120, 100 divided by 120. If you notice carefully that the column number which is B and cell number 87, B87 divided by C87, B88 divided by C87, B88, 89 divided by C87. So 87 row number and the C column is constant. Okay, if it is constant, we call as absolute cell referencing. So how we do that? Equal to, when we select the option as B87, divide by, and if I select this cell C87. So I want this data to be fixed, okay, C87 to be fixed. But when I press enter by default, and if I just double click down, carefully observe what it shows. If I double click here, it is dividing this value by this particular cell, because it is shifting down everywhere. If I double click here, you see it is shifting down, it is shifting down. But what I want the answer here is, in this place, C87 should not change. Even if it has gone down, it should not change. Let me just show it one more time. In the formulas tab, if I click on show formulas, C87, C88, C89, C90, C91. So this value at the right hand side should not change. It should always be how much? C87. If I want the value as C87 by default, I have to double click in between that cell, and there are many ways. I'll give you multiple options here. One option is you can press F4 or function F4 depending upon laptop. You can press F4 or function F4. When you do that, $C $87. What is $C at $87? $C means C column will always be fixed. $87 means this particular row will be fixed. So when I press enter and if I drag it down, carefully observe, and if you see the second value on the right hand side, C87 is always constant. It is not going to change. This is known as absolute cell referencing. So here I want this column values to be changed, this particular cell not to be changed. So if I just move my cursor, carefully observe, the blue line is shifting down, but the red one is always there because I have selected and made that as constant. So this is known as absolute cell referencing. I'll press Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. If function F4 doesn't work, some places it may not work. So I can double click, press shift, then I can press here 4, shift 4 from the upper row. Again, I can click here and I can manually put the $, which is shift 4, enter. So one is the shortcut and then shift 4 and I can double click here. Okay. So this way also you can get the answer. So this is the absolute cell referencing, a very good example. Where it is useful, when we go for conditional formatting, when we go for VLOOKUP, in nested functions, we will be using this formulas every now and then in data validation. So understanding the topic right now is important. Okay. So when I want to divide all the cells by this one particular cell. Now I can go back into the formulas tab, show formulas. Fourth example is absolute cell referencing. Now we have unit sales, we have quantity, we have line sales. Now I want to multiply all the cells with this 7.50. Similar example what we see in the example number 3. So the cell number is C126, C127, C128. All the C columns, okay, value has to be multiplied by B123. So how do we do that? Equal to sign, equal to, select this cell C126 multiplied by this particular cell which is B123. Now this value has to be constant. So I can press function F4 from my keyboard. Some laptops it will work F4, some laptops it will work as function F4, and we can press enter. And now when I double click on this small doctor symbol, I've got the answer here. Let's cross check. If I double click here, you can see it is working. If I double click here, it is working. So every cell if I click, you can see what happens is this B123 is constant over here. So this is the absolute cell referencing. And now these are the 4 examples. Now comes the important and little complicated option, which is mixed cell referencing. The last option, mixed cell referencing. Now this is usually very rarely used, but it is important to understand. Have a look here. Now usually you will see this kind of matrix. This is a matrix. Table is 1D, it goes vertically downwards. A matrix is having 2 data, okay, 2 dimension, the column headings and row headings. Carefully observe, this is the column headings and this one becomes my row headings. Now the question here is the upper top option, if you see, that's a term, and these are the number of months, okay, number of let me see what is that, let me increase the size. Yeah, that's the amount here. So these are the term, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years and so on, and that's the amount, 10,000, 20,000 or whatever value. Now the question here is, if I want to multiply 10 by 1, 20 by 2, 30 by 3 and 40 by 4. So if I keep my cursor here, the answer should be the 4 multiplied by 30. Okay, that should be the answer. If I keep my cursor here, it should be 4 because it's a 4 multiplied by this value which is 50. Now what you need to understand here is very simple. Please observe. The highlighted area, if you see this area which is highlighted is constant. So what is that constant? This is a row which is constant. If you observe here, this row number 5. So here K5, L5, M5, N5, O5. K5, L5, M5, N5, O5. What is common in all this? 5 is common. So remember, I need to add a dollar before 5. Okay, that's very simple. If something is constant, you need to put a dollar before that. Okay, let's try this example. I want to multiply with J6, J7, J8, J9, J10. Okay, J6, J7, J8, J9, J10. What is constant here? J. Before J, I need to lock that particular cell. Then I'll be getting the answer here. So if you try by different examples, it becomes difficult. You can see I'm directly giving you a solution. In this column, I want to multiply, which is J6 multiplied by K5. Okay, so how do I do that? Equal to, select this cell which is J6. Let me zoom the screen. So equal to, I can select the option as J6 multiplied by, and I can select this value here. Okay, K5. So when we press enter, and if you try to drag the output here, you will not get the answers properly. Okay, you will not get the answers. You see, it will keep on giving some wrong answers. So in order to do that, in order to avoid that, what we can do is, we can first go to formulas tab, show formulas. Okay, carefully observe, equal to J6 into K5. Now, as I told you, J6, J7, J8, J9, J10. So what is constant here? J. So before J, we need to add here a dollar sign. Okay, and here same way, after this K5, L5, M5 and so on. So 5 is constant. So before 5, I'll put here dollar sign. That's it. Now when we drag on the right hand side, when we drag at the bottom, we should be getting the right answers. Now these are the formulas which are visible. Okay, it's not the function, it's a formula. But if I want to see the output, I can go to formulas tab, click on show formulas. Now you can cross check the answer, it will be absolutely correct. Let's cross check now. So 50 multiplied by 5. So I've got the answer as 250. If I want to see this value, which is 30 multiplied by 4. So this is a matrix. Where it is used, mostly people who work in the insurance department, mostly people who work with multiple numerical combinations, they use this data. For example, if you buy some insurance policy or SIP, okay, systematic investment plan, if I have an SIP, if I invest for 3 years, 4 years and 5 years, what would be the output? So you can have that value and this would be the term. Now usually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this will be different options, okay, but this is how the matrix works. This is known as mixed cell referencing. So remember, the shortcut method is, whenever something is common, log that thing. Okay, you can log that thing, and this is known as what you call mixed cell referencing. This was a 5th example. Now this is important, which is coming in the future videos here. I hope you have understood about the cell referencing and different type of cell referencing in Microsoft Excel. That's all for this video.